So let's say there's a government contract that comes in. It might be, let's say $2 million, right? Before the before the company even gets the investment of the 2 million, somebody got 10% off the top, somebody got 15%. Their baby mom's got 1% over here, so and so got 10%, right? Before you even take the initial investment into the company and start to scale. That's something that is really breaking after that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Afronomics. Today, you probably know us. I'm finna be Steve Jobs. I'm finna be the African Steve Jobs and just wear the same shirt like every event. You ain't never had to guess what Steve Jobs is pulling up in for the demo. You're gonna wear that black shirt, that black turtleneck, the blue jeans, and the New Balance every single time. I'm finna do that. I'm finna have a uniform.
It eliminates decision fatigue because I'm doing the same thing too for the most part, brother. So I ain't mad at you because trying to figure out what to wear is too much effort.
Yeah.
I know he in technology.
Episode 8, and I'm tired of trying to switch it up. So we finna roll with it. All right, go ahead. Let's get to the introductions.
What's up? You already know it's your boy L Dubs, Llewellyn.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? This is me on caffeine. I don't know. We're not gonna give Starbucks no love, even though I said it. Someone put it there. But today is a good day. Today is a great day. I get to introduce one of my brothers from Morehouse. I've known this guy for quite some time.
The house.
The house. There you go, right there, my boy.
Y'all got a thing? I didn't know y'all did that.
Yeah, we do that, my guy. Calling all the way in from the great Sierra Leone. Salon, neighboring countries. And so my brother Maada Thomas in the house, or not really, but in the house. With the help of virtual technology.
They're not us.
You said what?
Not us.
They're not us.
They're not us.
That is. Sierra Leone talk that.
Yeah, home of the greatest jollof in the world.
Oh my God. I'm gonna let y'all have it because it's 2 against 1, so I'm not gonna win this argument today. So I'm gonna let y'all have it for now. But Maada, my boy, it's so good to see you, man. It's been quite a long time since we've connected, but I'm glad that we did. Random happenstance on LinkedIn. So how you doing, man? How's life? How's the weather over there in Salon?
And the weather's great, man. The weather's great. We just came out of our raining season. So if you guys know, I know you guys know, but for the people watching who don't know, we have 2 seasons here. We have raining season and we have dry season. So raining season, it rains all throughout the summer. And then, you come into September, October, November, December, January. It's nice and sunny.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother, we want to go. Oh, yeah, my bad. I was about to skip stuff. I'm gonna turn it over to him. He know what he doing.
Right. So before we get in, you seen the show, you know how it is. So we got to start off with some Wala. Wala, exactly. So Wala, of course, is a segment where we talk about it's like very lighthearted, real chill. Supposed to be kind of funny a little bit sometimes, but we do this before we get into the nitty gritty of the episode. And it's a different topic and it's a random topic. I come up with it, even Llewellyn don't know. So I'm finna drop it to both of y'all right now. All right, so how long have you waited for African time at an event? The longest you waited for African time at an event, what was the event?
Bruh, go ahead, Maada. Go ahead, bro. Dog.
First of all, events never start on time.
Of course.
So if there is any party, graduation, anything, and they say it starts at 7, that party is not up there until 1 a.m. And then you're going throughout the morning.
Nah, for
real. You're not wrong. What was the longest you waited for a thing to start?
The longest I've waited, probably a couple hours.
A couple hours?
Yeah, probably a couple hours. Yeah, probably like 3-4 hours.
Did you get there on time by mistake?
No. African time was included.
Wait, you got there late and still had to wait 2.5 hours?
I got there late and still had to wait 3-4 hours. Yes.
Dog, that's wild.
Imagine.
That's absolutely wild.
African time is merciless.
It's a wild experience.
Merciless.
I got two stories with that. The first, I should have known better, but I don't know why I didn't know better. And the second one is actually with y'all's people. My friend he's Sierra Leone. He got married to a Liberian. The first one, I pulled up to this. It was actually a political a campaign, presidential campaign. What's the person called? A candidate for Liberian elections at the time. He was having a rally here in Atlanta, and I pulled up. I think they said it was supposed to start at like 6 o'clock. My dumb behind got there at 6 o'clock. I'm
Rookie
sitting
mistake,
bruh. I'm looking. I'm like, the flyer says 6, and I'm forgetting. I'm like, oh, this is my first Liberian function in a while. So I get there, dog. Everybody walked in at the same time at like 8:15. I was like, what? I forgot. Then my homie got married. I'm sitting there thinking I'm about to be late or whatever. And so I'm texting like, bro, I'm sorry, whatever. And mind you, I planned to be late. I was like, I think the wedding was supposed to start at like 3 o'clock. I was like, I'm going to pull up at 4. I get there at 4 o'clock. He's like, oh yeah, bro, we still haven't started. They didn't start till 5:30. I'm like, dog. And I told my American friend, he was like, I'm going to an African wedding. I was like, the first thing is, I said, what time the wedding start? He said, it's supposed to start at 3. I said, get there at 5:30. I said, trust me, get there at 5:30. If you get there any earlier than 5:30, you're going to be too early. You're going to be helping to set up. He was like, all right. Dude texted me at 4:30. He was like, bro, I got here. I was like, you're still early. He was like, I know. I'm helping them set everything. He said nothing's ready. I said, I know.
He's like, yeah.
I told you. You
Think
should
we
have known
knew
better.
this?
You should have known better.
Yeah, no, I mean, for us, like, it done got so bad, we got to tell people a different time. Like, we recently had my nephew's christening, and for the longest, my auntie was telling, like, oh, family, you got to be there at 2, be there at 2, be there at 2. The night before, we had dinner. It was my mom's birthday. The night before, my cousin, my nephew's mom, she's like, the thing actually starts at 4. So she told us the truth, which she shouldn't have done, because it come around to the day of the event, and we the family, we're hosting as a family. We're hosting. Nobody showed up till 5. I got there at 6:30 when we were supposed to originally get there at 2. Like, it never ceases to amaze me how late we can pull up to something. And as a unit, like, everybody does it.
Everybody knew
does it.
When to be when to be on time, and when to, like, everybody knew the late time to be, but nobody talked about it.
We showed up late, and my mom forgot the food. She left the food because we carpooled. My mom forgot the food in her car. We rode in my brother's car. And then she left the Henny at the crib. So I had to drive back to my house to go to her car to get the food out the car, then drive to her house to get the Henny from her house, and then drive all the way back to the west side for the function.
The event.
Yeah, I missed the whole thing. I've missed so many things for Africa. I done missed weddings. I done missed birthdays, show up late. I done missed probates, like literally just show up to everybody clearing out and taking pictures and all that.
I'm sure. Now, I got a rule, and my people know me. I'm starting the stuff on time. I ain't telling you the early time. If you're going to be there, you're going to be there. If you miss it, that's on you. I don't know what to tell you because I'm hungry. 9 times out of 10, if I'm going to an event, I want food. So therefore, I'm hungry. If I'm starting it, we starting on time. I might give you like 10, 15 minutes, but don't show up 2 hours late. All the food going to be gone.
Man,
we not starting late.
I went to a wedding last year, and I was only like 30 minutes late, but they started on time, and weddings are fast. I showed up like maybe 5-10 minutes late, and I walked in, and the bride was finna walk in. Like, that's how late I was. Like, the whole wedding party done walked to the front. I'm outside finna go, and I see the bride. She my friend. I'm like, oh damn.
Yup.
Like, bro. It was bad.
I saw auntie one time. She came to a wedding. She came to the wedding late and had the nerve to be mad that the wedding started on time. Then she walked in late and she sucked her teeth. She's like, how they start the thing on time? What? How are you mad? Because they started at the time they told you they was finna start.
Because she knows. She expected African time. Like, why y'all switch things up now? Like, be consistent. If you're going to be late all the time, be late all the time. Don't just out of nowhere be punctual.
That's funny.
Yeah.
We can't take nothing serious. Not even time. But that food will always hit, though. I'm hungry, so my bad.
Yeah.
The African foods, that wedding I told you about, I was late at night. I was smashing. I had the Sierra Leone fried rice and some jollof rice. It hit. It blessed me. It's not better. It wasn't better Liberians, but it was good. It was good.
All right.
Anyway, Maada, my boy, the guest of the hour, my man, dog. We want to hear about you, bro. We want to hear what it is that you've been doing, what you've been up to. I know that you are a serial entrepreneur. You've done quite a few things. I know you did Forex when you were on this side for a little bit, plus a lot of other world-taking ventures that you do, and now you're doing Laura. What's the how do you
WiShare. WiShare Africa.
I wasn't sure if it's WiShare or WiShare.
WiShare.
Okay, now you're doing WiShare Africa as a co-founder, man. Talk to us about your journey, brother. How did you get from Morehouse to Forex to WiShare, and was WiShare and what you're doing right now, was that always in the cards, or how we get here?
Let's hear that story.
To be honest, bro, WiShare wasn't always in the cards, but if you look at how like all of our generation have developed over the years, we all came up on the internet. We're the internet generation, right? So when I think about what we're doing with WiShare, we're an internet service provider, right? So even though I didn't go to school for network engineering or anything like that, I know that my entire professional experience and I know my entire life experience has been built up on the internet, right? So WiShare kind of fell into our laps by accident, but I'll take you back to college, right? Especially since Llewellyn's my big brother, for those that don't know, my senior over there at Morehouse, right? So it's been a little while since we caught up, but I was at Morehouse and I didn't finish, right? Due to medical issues. I had a very rare sleeping condition / mental condition that made me miss out on a lot of school. So I want to say about like 2016, I was still having these episodes where I'd like miss 2 weeks, 2 months of school at a time. And I had an internship in New York. So my first venture was Young Black and Educated, which was a network for Black interns, Black full-time employees. And it just started off as a group chat. I'm sure both of you have been in these big group chats of people who, I work at Microsoft, I'm at Goldman, right? I started one of those group chats, and it started off as me and 20 of my friends, and then grew into this national network of 6,000 students, interns, employees. And that was my breakthrough into entrepreneurship. However, like most people know, as an entrepreneur, making money is not easy, especially if you don't know what you're doing, right? So I had this network. I was struggling with the whole school thing. And when I ended up taking a legal case against Morehouse because they had violated my rights with my office disabilities. So during that time, I was like, okay, I'm in Atlanta. I'm a young Sierra Leonean kid. My parents are about to disown me for leaving school.
All right.
What am I going to do? So at that point, I decided to just put all my eggs into Young Black and Educated. And I had to drive for Uber to be able to support myself. I was working at restaurants to make sure I had enough money. But one thing that I realized is, you can have a job, but all of your energy is going to go towards your job. Right? If I'm working these long shifts at the restaurant, if I'm driving these shifts for Uber, trying to pay my rent, stuff like that, I'm not going to have enough time to invest into my business. So when I started Young Black and Educate, I didn't really know how to be a CEO or anything like that. So what I would do is I'd drive my Uber and I would listen to How to Start a Startup podcast by Y Combinator. And I pitch my ideas to my passengers. So, you might come into an Uber expecting your Uber driver not to speak or, to be playing some radio music. I'm talking and pitching ideas. So that was kind of my initial come up. And then that brought me into the foreign exchange market. Because when I had first seen Forex, I was kind of like everyone else, like, damn, like, what's this Forex thing? People are making money from this, for real? And I had seen a trader named Q Banks post that he made $10,000 in a day. I was sold. I said, I'm trying to build this startup, but I don't have the capital to be able to invest into it. If I can learn and master day trading, maybe I can make enough money to be able to invest in my startup, right? Little did I realize, day trading is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So that ended up taking me a long amount of time to really hone in, master the skill. During all that time, I had some unique experiences where I was able to come home to Sierra Leone and get a public sector experience, like let's say like an internship. I was able to see the state house, see what the country needed. Because at the core of my heart, I've always been into the development of Africa. So when I went to school, I was an international studies major, human rights, and my whole thought process was, I'm eventually going to save Africa. That's my goal. I'm going to save my people, right? And I thought that the best way to do that was become like a lawyer or work in human rights or something like that. So when I came and I was in the state house, I'm like, yeah, the public sector doesn't really have the answers. The answers to being able to develop Africa are in the private sector. So at that point, I kept that in mind, and I kept telling myself, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to make these like large scale institutional changes in the country, but this is going to take a lot of capital. So I'm like, what is it going to take? Like, how much capital is it really going to take? I'm like, damn, I'm probably going to have to be the richest man in the world. And I just started manifesting this, right? Like, yeah, I need to like follow the wealth, right? So I started doing my research and I realized most of the wealth in the world is in startups, large scale tech companies, right? The Googles, the Amazon, the Tesla, the OpenAIs, right? And I learned that there was a company called Y Combinator, which is the world's top startup accelerator. It's essentially like a boot camp for businesses. You apply, they give you capital, and they give you all the resources you need to be able to build your business. And they've produced Airbnb, Dropbox, Reddit, Coinbase. Their portfolio is over $700 billion. So at some point in my journey, while I was driving Uber, trying to make things work with Young Black and Educated, I had an opportunity to sit down with YC when they came to Morehouse. And I met my mentor, Dominique Fines, who is a Clark Atlanta alum. She is a Delta, right, Black woman from Oakland, but she was the director of events for Y Combinator. So she took me up under her wing and she's like, all right, like, you want to be a founder? You want to make change? I'm going to show you how to do it. And she took me, introduced me to Silicon Valley, introduced me to investors, founders. So I had the experience and the exposure that I truly believe that if you can be exposed to something, you can attain it. So if I'm thinking I need to be able to develop Africa at scale, I'm gonna need a lot of capital. I need to be around people who have a lot of capital, right? So through this experience, I was able to get the exposure and the insight really from Y Combinator because they have a free resource called Y Combinator Startup School. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a founder, if you're a business owner, Y Combinator Startup School is a free resource and you get to learn from people who have built, grown, and scaled billion-dollar companies, right? So no matter what type of business you have, it's beneficial. So let me cut to where we're at today. Um, I had I'd been doing business in Atlanta. Things ended up, being kind of rocky. I lost my best friend and my business partner. So then I said, okay, you know what? I have to gather myself. Let me go home to Jersey. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this like entrepreneurship quote, but people always say, oh, get off the grid for 6 months, lock in, work out, right? I took that super seriously. And I went off the grid for like 3 to 4 years, right? And I'm just working out, working on my routine, creating the master plan, right? And things weren't going well, actually. Things kind of sucked. I was trying to trade. I wasn't making the money from it. I just believed so heavily in it. And eventually, I'm going to say last year, summer, I've given up on my entrepreneurship journey. I was like, you know what? I think I've built up enough skills as an entrepreneur during these like 7 to 8 years. That I think, maybe I can go try and get like a 6-figure tech job or something, right? Out of Google or something like that. And when I was really about to put my entrepreneurship hat up, my cousin came with this opportunity. He said, "Yeah, man, like my dad discovered this technology, and this technology is essentially able to connect people to internet." It's like, okay, this sounds interesting. So I called my other cousin, and he's like the tech guy, U.S. Navy war veteran, worked on F-18 fighter pilots, drone expert, really, really smart tech guy. My chief technical officer, Nyaka. And we told him about it. He's like, no, I need to see the technology for myself. So he hopped in his car and drove 17 hours to Dallas, Texas to go test the technology, right? He called us back. He said, guys, this is the real deal. They deployed in Texas. You can walk around. It's hotspot businesses, right? Kind of like Xfinity. Anywhere you go in the States, you open your phone, you can see Xfinity, right? That is how WiShare's hotspot technology operates. So we came together and we said, you know, our best bet is to white label this technology that we've discovered, turn it into a startup, and then move to Sierra Leone. So what ended up happening was we needed some capital to be able to make some moves. And the United Nations General Assembly was going on in New York. So the team and I said, you know what, let's go try and intercept the president and see if we can pitch him our idea. So I'm preparing all these memos for the team, and we're going to pitch this way, we're going to do this. And I ended up getting sick, so I didn't even get to sit in the meeting. But my team went, pitched the president. He handed us $10,000, said, go ahead, come to Africa, come to Sierra Leone. This is a solution that will be beneficial. And since then, the rest is history. We've been in Sierra Leone trying to set up the business, and we are maybe a couple weeks away from launch now.
Wow.
Dude, so much was said, but the first thing I want to address is the cojones. The cojones. First of all, everything you said takes cojones, and it's a mindset. It's a maniacal mindset that shows that you are exactly who an entrepreneur is. You'll understand it when I say it. You'll understand it when I say it. But it's a mindset that I don't think people realize, that you have to, like, you can't try for it. You can't fake it. You just have to really be it. Did you hear what he said? Bro said, oh, the president of my country is going to be here. Let's go holler at him right quick.
Yeah.
That's cojones. Like, how dare you? What audacity do you have to say, not only am I going to go holler at my country's president, nah, I'm going to where the United Nations, all of the leaders of the world are currently at right now, just to go holler at my president to have a meeting with him. Cojones. That is a mindset that you can't duplicate that. That's something, and bro, that's where, like, the 7 and 8 years that you put in, that mindset was cultivated by that 7 and 8 years. Because that's the kind of mindset where it's like you locked in for that time. That's what you got out of it. Like, people don't realize, like, that it takes, like, to do small steps like that. Sometimes it does take, like, a lot of effort and time to be able to train your mind. Because honestly, bro, what kind of maniac says I'm finna just go walk up to Obama right now and just be like, hey, big dog, let's have a conversation. Even him not being president, not as a sitting president right now, nobody's gonna think about, oh, let me just, not nobody, because I would, but to be like, oh, let's go get a meeting with Obama. Like, people, if you say that to a group of people that you're leading, they're gonna be like, how? No, just do it. Just do it. That's it. That's my spiel. Go ahead. I know you were about to say something.
No, that was a hell of a story, man. I was engaged. I was locked in. Like, I forgot that we was hosting for a second. I'm sitting
I'm just
sitting here just listening to the story. But nah, that's dope. Like, you really did say a lot. And, like, I want to know, you had the technology. What made you say, like, was the guy that created it, was it specifically for Sierra Leone, or you saw it and was like, oh, we could apply this in Sierra Leone because this is a new market? I want to know.
Great question, right? So the person who created the technology went to University of Oxford, right? And studied this technology for 10 years, right? And then spent another 4 years developing it. And while he was actually putting the technology together, he had Africa in his mind. He's like an incredible technologist, like, in the grand scheme of the world, right? I would say his name, but I don't know if that's, like, appropriate. Like, I don't know if he wants to stay under the radar, but an incredible guy. And he really created this with Africa in mind. Truthfully, he really did.
Is he an African?
No, he's not.
Okay. White dude?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, it's funny that you said that, right? Because we have our company, WiShare Africa, and then we have our technology partner, right? I like to call them the United Nations, right? You have a Hispanic, you have an Asian, we have a Russian, We have an African. Like, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't want to sound crazy, right? But like, I feel like they're aliens. I feel like, how in the world did y'all create this technology and then somehow bring all the major races in the world together and say, "Hey, we're gonna help Africa"? Like, this seems like seems like some crazy, crazy stuff going on.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm glad that if that is the case, I'm glad that you were also at the table, and people like you, because we always talk about it on the show where it's like saving ourselves essentially. Like it's great that they built the technology and everything else, but I'm not gonna lie, my trust level is still very low when it comes to outsiders helping us, quote unquote. So it's great that you are also there. I don't know these people. The technology seems great. You're singing its praises and you're a part of it. So I'm just going to assume the best. But it's still good that you are also there, a part of it, to make sure that respect is still being given across the board.
I'm really glad that you made that point because this is a conversation that we always have about doing business in Africa, right? People always think like, oh, the Chinese are here to exploit us. So and so's here to exploit us, right? It's about the person, right, having the gall to ask for what they deserve. Right? Let me give you an example. In Sierra Leone back in the 70s, there was a law that said that no foreign-owned company can operate in Sierra Leone unless there's a Sierra Leonean that has majority equity in the company, so 51% or higher, right? Most people, when they get deals, right, we're the ones with the resource. They need us, right? However, you're having the outsider come and say, hey, here are our terms. Do you agree to this? No. We take an approach where we always create our own terms and then we give them to the people. This is what we want. This is what we expect. People are much more likely to do business with you, right? But again, it is business, right? So good example is like sometimes, right? Not all Chinese are like this, right? But sometimes Chinese will come say, hey, we're going to build some infrastructure. We're going to build a road here. We're going to do this. We're going to help with the electricity infrastructure. You guys can just keep a little 1% of the company. You see what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, well, they're building roads, right? No, you have to be. I need everybody in Africa to have a more longevity centered mindset, right? Because what ends up happening, there's a lot of influx of capital coming in, right? And people want to eat before the meal is prepared, right? So let's say there's a government contract that comes in. It might be, let's say $2 million, right? Before the company even gets the investment of the 2 million, somebody got 10% off the top, somebody got 15%, their baby mom's got 1% over here, so got 10%, right? Before you even take the initial investment into the company and start to scale. That's something that is really breaking after that, right? Good example, we're working on an agricultural project, right? And I want to put these examples out here so in case anyone hears this, they'll be able to learn this, right? One is agriculture is the future, right? Agriculture has a lot of potential here, right? However, a lot of the most valuable crops need about let's say 5 years to harvest, right? Within that 5 years, you have to be able to sustain the operational costs of your business, right? Meaning you need to pay for equipment, you need land, you need clearing, you need seeds, and you need to pay your employees during that time, right? You can't wait until your crop starts to make $10 million every harvest before you pay everyone adequately. So you have to have enough capital to be able to last that 5 years until you get to harvest. That is what keeps holding a lot of these major initiatives back in the country. And that's something that I've realized, right? So with us, we take, and by the way, I love artificial intelligence. I don't want to just jump around here, but I want to give a lot of information, right? You can talk to AI the same way we're having a conversation here, right? And you can literally ask, okay, we have been taken advantage of in these ways. What ways can we do this business in which our country will benefit in a way that is impactful, sustainable, and profitable for the people? I would say something like that to AI, right? I've used ChatGPT to be able to put these businesses together, right? So it's the conversations, it's the experience, and we have to use technology to our advantage to be able to explore new ideas and see how we can all truly make an impact in the country.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, because there's a lot of resources. I mean, Africa, of course, has resources that have been exploited, and other countries and other regions are benefiting off of the backs of Africa's resources and sacrifice. So if they want to put their resources or put whatever it is, whether it's money, they want to build something, we can take full advantage as long as, like you said, as long as it's on our terms, then that's how we need to do it. It needs to be on our terms because they're always going to come because they know that they need us to be able to do certain things. So as long as we know that they need us and we make sure that we leverage that to get our needs met, then we can do business with them. I think it's all about just how you take control over the situation and take control over what you have and know your worth and make sure that you get it plus tax. Like that's the one thing that we don't ever do. We
Value.
we get suckered into these contracts like rappers with these 360 deals. We just make bad deals and then we suffer for it on the back end. We just got to be smarter about it. When we got to your point, think long term. A lot of times we lose because we want the quick check or our leadership wants the quick check. So they sell us down the river to be able to make a quick buck off of China or Turkey or whatever country's coming in. But no, I like how you guys approach it where you know that there's a threat of being exploited, but being very intentional and strategic and knowing what we need out of the situation and making sure we get that. And then you can take that to them and say, hey, if you want to play by these rules, we can do business. And if you don't, then we can't. So I really like that mindset. So what was your experience with Sierra Leone like growing up? Did you go back a lot? Did you have like a good relationship? You got family there? Or was it like in adulthood is where you really started to learn about what was going on?
It started off when I was young, obviously. Like I well, not obviously, I know people don't know me. I started coming when I was like about 6 years old. So I had an early experience here. And then I would come most Decembers, right? However, my experience changed when I started becoming like a teenager, right? Like, because I'd come and I'd be with my family, I'd go to the village. Um, but it wasn't like I was like real ingrained in the culture. This is the most ingrained I've been because I've been here for about a year now. And like living here is does not compare, does not compare to visiting at
Really?
all. Like, because I visited a lot, right? You come 2 weeks at a time. Maybe you come for a month, right? Living here is a totally different experience, and honestly, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, how's it
How
different?
so? How so?
Okay. For me, I'll just speak for my own example, right? When I come to visit, normally I'm with my family, right? We take care of everything. I'm not thinking about, oh, I gotta rent this, I gotta get this car. Oh, my car's breaking down. I gotta go get this car fixed. How do I get over here? How do I do this? Where do I go shopping for this? Like all the things that you think about it. You go to places and you go on vacation mode, right? So you're not thinking about like living things, right? Oh, how am I going to top up my phone? Light went out. I need a UPS or I need a generator. Oh, maybe I should think about solar, right? You're not thinking about these things. Normally, when you come to visit, you're in a hotel. Somebody's taking care of this. When you have to like handle all that on your own, it's like it's like doing this a lot,
Really?
you know?
What's been the biggest adjustment?
The biggest adjustment. You see, I'm lucky because I've been coming since I was young, right? So like the quality of life I was familiar with. To be honest, my personal biggest adjustment was the social life, actually. Like, and I don't think this is specific to moving to Sierra Leone. I think if you move to any city and you don't know anybody, but for the most
Yeah.
part, right, you're gonna experience this, right? Like these are people who you're interacting with who didn't know you in college. They don't give a fuck who you are, what you did, right? They don't care who. Oh, my bad. I don't know for lack of a better
No,
word,
you
but
You
good. You
good? You
good.
good?
but you know what I mean. So my biggest struggle was okay, interacting with people, meeting people who are genuine, trying to link with other entrepreneurs. Am I like hanging out with more public sector people, private sector people? That was kind of like finding finding my like group of people was probably one of the most challenging things that I had to navigate when I moved to.
Hmm. Are there other JCs there? And for people
Yeah,
who don't
yeah, for
know,
sure.
a JC is like JC, JJC, Johnny
Just
Just Come
coming.
is somebody who is like went there, is not doesn't live there, they didn't grow up there, but they just came.
Yeah,
So
like expats, right?
yeah,
Right.
Just
expats,
yeah.
yeah. So you said there are some there?
Sorry, one more time.
You said there are some or not
Have
a
you
whole
connected
lot?
with them?
Yeah, no, they're definitely here. There's a lot of people who have moved from the UK, who have moved from the States, from all
Okay.
over. They're definitely here. There's definitely like a very small community. I don't want, maybe it's not a small community, but there's definitely a community of people who all have like, jobs here. They work at like some cool, private companies, or they work remote and they're here. Yeah. There's definitely a community of those type of people.
Okay. All right. Now that's good to know. Because, a lot of people be thinking about moving back, but you don't see it a lot. But I think the more people that move back there, the more others will be comfortable with it. Because, like, it's good to have a community and be able to mingle with the people there.
Exactly.
Yes. And to be realistic, right? Like, what does it actually take to move here? Right.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. I just closed on my apartment, right? I haven't moved in yet, right? My rent is $3,800 for the year. And I just got a
Excuse
three
me.
bedroom, four bath. That's
Wait,
nice. Newly
you
built. I'm
said
the first person to stay on the store. It's
3,800
three
for the
thousand eight
year?
hundred dollars for the year. You know what I'm saying? So
Where's your
sometimes,
calculator?
like for
It's
me,
a
like
little
as
over
Black
300
people
a
and as
month.
Africans, we have to get very comfortable talking about money, right? Like I'm not the richest man in the world. Hopefully one day, right? But I'm not. So like I feel comfortable saying, like, listen, you can get rent for this much. This is how much a car is going to cost you. This is how much you might spend on petrol, right? On gas. You know what I'm saying? If you paint that picture, listen, if you have, I'm saying this to all, my African brothers and sisters who live all over the world, right? If you have a remote job that's paying you at least $50,000 a year, you can come and live an incredible life, incredible life. Facts, especially Sierra Leone.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That
Yeah,
sounds about
the
right. Even
cost
for
of
Liberia
living.
too.
Yeah, cost of living is incredibly low. Incredibly low.
Man, so I want to hear more about I'm a journey type of guy, so I want to hear more about that 7-8 year period, like when you went ghost and you were just trying to figure it out and all of that. And I say that because we were talking about earlier in another episode, social media is good for showing the highlight reels and everything that looks good. And I think it's also necessary to expose the real of it. Like I love how you mentioned, even with Forex, because people who do Forex make it look like you start today and tomorrow you're a millionaire.
Right.
And it looks like that, and that's just not the case. So to tell people, because and part of my reasoning for asking you this question is a lot of people have been, we demonize, society kind of demonizes 9 to 5s and everything else and tries to make it seem like you're only doing big stuff if you're an entrepreneur or starting your own thing or whatever. But it is a different type of a spirit. It's a different type of tenacity. It's a different type of mindset you got to have to be an entrepreneur and to be successful at it. And just talk about that and what that's like, so that, and the honestly, part of the reason I'm asking this is because I kind of want you to talk people out of it or at least give them the real, who are out here trying, oh, I want to start a business, so they
Yeah,
can be like,
sensationalizing it.
yeah, so they can be like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I need to go and accept that job that Google just offered me and go sit down and live a regular life and be cool. So yeah, man, just talk about a little bit what that journey has been like for you, and what kind of transpired during that time.
Okay, definitely. I'll start by saying the entrepreneurship journey is definitely not for the weak. And if you want to start a business, in the startup world, we always say, prepare to get your return on your investment after 10 years. So be ready to essentially eat shit for 10 years until you reach that point. That was my perspective. And, I was in my 20s. I heard all these entrepreneurs say, 20 should be the time when you take the risks, you do all this, right? But I'll be honest with you, like before anything, like I'm a man of God first, right? And I remember I had a distinct experience where I was like, I fell to my knees, I cried, I was broke, I was about to get kicked out of my apartment, all this type of stuff. And I'm like, God, you know what? Use me as a vessel. Like I do not want to hold the reins anymore, right? And I'm thinking like life is gonna get great after that. Life went to shit for 4 years after that. I went through the
Mm-hmm.
hardest experiences of my life. And it's funny reflecting on it now because if you guys would have talked to me maybe a year ago, like I used to look at my life like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I listened to rap music. I listened to trap, right? The stuff that these rappers talk about, that was my lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like the struggle. Oh, I had to do this. I had to,
Yeah,
right?
in the
That was
trenches.
the reality. So like reflecting on it now is like, wow, like reflecting on the high side. I'm actually grateful. I'm grateful to have spent my 20s not making any money, but trying. and making mistakes and like failing, you know? Because everything that like, you know, these entrepreneurs talk about, like I went through. You know, I dropped out of college. I got kicked out of my apartment. I had to sleep in a car, you know, I had to sleep on couches for years. For years, I had to do that. You know what I mean? Like I had jobs that weren't able to cover my expenses. I fell out with my family. I fell out with my friends. Like I lost friends. I lost family. Like, you know, people died during this time. Like it, you really go through the full spectrum of life. You know, you really do go through it, you know, and also deciding that you want to do something tough. The two toughest things in the world to do, right, is having a startup and being a trader, right? Because the percentage of success is so low. It's so low. If you're starting a business, like let me put it to you like this, right? Everyone's into venture capital, right? 95% of startups fail. Venture capitalists make their money, their 100x return on the 5% of companies that end up becoming the next unicorn. You know what I mean? You have to like keep that in mind, right? But the way to alleviate that is, to me, is there's a problem and you create a solution. You have a business, right? But the best businesses is if it's a problem that you're facing. If you create a solution to a problem that you have, then you are the user. You understand how people think about what you're producing better than anybody else, right? Good example, my first business, Young Black and Educated, right? I had an internship in New York. Where do I get my hair cut? Where do I go for happy hour? What do my friends do, right? That's why I created the network. It turned out that there was 1,500 other people in New York that wanted the same thing, right? When I started trading, right? Okay, let me learn this skill because I need money. That's why people start trading because they want money, right? Okay, boom, like, okay, I'm figuring out, okay, I can make some money from this. We share. I come to Africa, I come to Sierra Leone, and I'm struggling with internet connectivity. I'm the privileged one. I'm the one that's from the States, and I'm still having the same issues as everyone else. So imagine being on the ground here. Imagine being on the ground. Imagine getting charged more than they charge you in America for these services, where the median household income is $50 a month. You see what I'm saying? Like when you become the solution to your own problem, that's when you have a successful business. I truly believe.
That's real, man.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's powerful. Yeah, we need to take a moment with that. Yeah, that's real. That's real. And you say and you speak with the level of conviction, like you said, of somebody who has lived it and has reflected on it, and like you have been your story. You allowed your story to empower where you're going and what you want to do. Because I mean, yeah, bro, it's a real thing. Like people you can fall and some people fall and never get back up. As a result of the journey of trying to do it, like you said, it's not for the weak, man. So yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you for one, being transparent and being real about it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, people will be easy to see what you're doing, and it's easy to see people's names and the list of what they do, right? Your people's resume, and it's like, oh snap, this person is doing this and whatever. But it's like, nah, you don't really know the price that they paid to get there, and you don't know what the story was behind that, and all of that. So yeah, thank you for keeping it real, because folks need to hear it.
Yeah. The entrepreneurship journey is definitely romanticized. Age of social media, everything is highlights and accolades, but it's a real struggle. I can speak from experience. Like it's a grind sometimes, even though we talking about don't use that word, but like that's sometimes how it feels. It forces you, it humbles you, it makes you like you either adapt to be successful or you get washed out of the game. That's the only two options. If you want to keep doing it, you have to change and you gotta rise to the occasion. And with entrepreneurship, everything is mindset and how you look at it. Because life is only 90%, is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you deal with it. And that all speaks to your character. So to speak specifically about how you got through those 4 years of just living just being in the trenches through the struggle in that hell, how did you keep your mind cool and all that? How did you maintain a positive mindset
God,
to keep pushing?
God, 100% God,
Just
100% God. When you get to a certain place in your life, you realize that your family's gonna let you down, your lover's gonna let you down, your friends are gonna let you down. Every single person in your life is gonna eventually let you down, but God's never gonna do it.
mm, that's real. That's real. You gotta have faith.
You have to
You
have
gotta
faith.
have faith. You gotta have
You have
faith.
to have
That's
faith.
probably the biggest thing, like faith,
Number one.
especially for an entrepreneur. You gotta, because if you don't believe it, it's not gonna happen for you. You gotta have faith.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
real.
man. And you already know where I stand on that model. Like it's a you got to get to the point where you just, once you let it out, like you said, once you let it out of your hands and you say, God, you, whatever you trying to do with this, that's it. And I love how you say, you actually said it exactly how I would have said it for dramatic effect. Maybe it's an African thing. But you said, you prayed your prayer of desperation to God, and you were like, oh, I thought it was finna get good because he's about to answer my prayer and we gonna vibe. He was like, nah, I went through hell after that. Yeah,
Put me through
man.
hell, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, that's my own life's journey has also taught me that's how God answers our prayers too. Because it's like in that moment you said, I ain't got nothing, and I need help. And then you went through hell to, I guess, I don't know what, I don't like to be the one to say, oh, everything has a purpose or whatever, because that sounds romanticized or whatever. But it happened because it was a part of God's plan for your life. And that was his answer to your prayer so that you could see it through. And so for me, I look at stuff like, there's an old saying old folks used to say, you got to run on and see what the end is going to be. Like I'm a big, huge believer in like, even though you get tired, it hurts, whatever. I mean, I've been through points, like there was a point in time when I was in college where I did have suicidal thoughts and I did want to, check out for a moment. And I thank God that he saved me in that moment. But now, like no matter how bad life gets, part of my mindset is I got to see what happens after this. Because right now I'm only looking at the current moment, but I got to see like what's happening after this. Because you prayed that prayer, 4 years of hell could have been like, nah, I'm good. But you said, nah, I'm going to wait. Year 5 came around. You started to see some stuff like, all right, I guess we'll see. Year 6, all right, I guess we'll see. And now things are shifting over. And it's like, okay, the 4 years of hell, I learned from it. But now it also, maybe you can relate too. It's like you remember the crap you went through because it's ingrained in you. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't seem so bad now that you've moved forward. It's like, okay, because I've been there too. I've slept in cars. I've done a whole lot of stuff when I was down and out. I slept in an apartment where I didn't have electricity or running water because we was about to get evicted and it turned everything off. And I was just struggling trying to make it. And it was like, you know what? Now in the moment, I'm like, you know what? It didn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
We good. I made it out. We good. Yeah, man, you
No, I was gonna say, it's funny, stuff like that changes your perspective, because like what you thought was difficult at one point versus like the difficulty you experience in life now, when it's on a different scale, like when you go through an experience like that and you're really in hell for an extended period of time, now that you're in a business and you're dealing with things, now your problem set is different. It might be like, oh, these are bigger problems. I'm trying to figure out how to make $1 million in revenue from this business, whatever. The challenges are so much different, and like seems like a bad day now is 10 times better than your best day when you was going through that period. So now it's like you ain't even tripping about it. It's like something that would ordinarily trip up somebody else or really make somebody go through it is like you just blessed that you're not where you used to be. And like now, I think you really need that perspective. And when you pray to God for patience, God's gonna give you a situation where you have to be patient.
Yep.
You pray to God for compassion, God's gonna put you in a situation where you need to show compassion. So it's like you want to get the trait, but you only get the trait by going through that process. So you can't avoid the
Well said.
process. The
Well
process
said.
is the reward. So that's that's what you experienced, and that's how it got you to where you are now. So no, I appreciate going through that story, that journey. People don't hear that enough.
My professor at Morehouse used to say, it was my religion professor, he would say, everybody wants Calvary, but everybody wants a crown, but nobody wants Calvary. Nobody wants the cross that comes along with the crown. In another way, he said, everybody wants a victory, but you can't have a victory without a war. You literally can't win unless you have to have something to win. And so it's literally a part of the and there are some people who struggle is not their story. Some people came from money, and it was tossed at them, and great for them. I'm very happy that that's not the case. But for a majority of people, that's not going to be the case. So I appreciate you saying that. So I guess we can switch gears and talk about what's next, what's in the future. I know. I want to. It's WiShare, WiShare. I don't have. It's WiShare. Okay. My mind was trying to program it as WiShare, so I'm trying to deprogram it. What's next on the horizon? I know it's brand new, so I'm sure the vision is still growing. I know. I'm sure that it's not something you just wanted to keep for Sierra Leone. I would hope that since Liberia is your neighbor, that you would come bring it there next. But we can talk about that another time. But what's next? What's on the horizon? What's happening?
Okay. So the way that our roadmap looks now is we finally received our Starlink. So Starlink can be a backhaul source for our nodes. So we're going to finish that testing, and then we're going to do our first initial deployment with the nodes that we have. So with our current capacity, we'll be able to connect 1,000 people. Once we do that successfully, then we're going deep into fundraising, right? And in the fundraising stage, like you guys said, we have some international expansion that is kind of rolling out a red carpet for us, right? Unfortunately, my brother, it is not Liberia, but it's actually Equatorial Guinea. They're very interested in our solution. And if you guys know, Equatorial Guinea is one of the wealthiest African nations per capita, right? They have large oil reserves, right? There's a ruling family. They've been very interested in our solution. And as much as you want to win at home, right, you have to have that support and you have to have that investment, So after we do a successful deployment, if we're not getting any of these big projects or big contracts or anything, we're going to take our expansion out to Equatorial Guinea, deploy there. Hopefully then the rest of, Africa will see our solution and then, make the call. But that's where we're at right now.
Awesome, man. And just for context, like this is new. This is still a very new, it's a sprouting thing. So if people want to get involved with what you got going on and they want to connect with you, how could they do that?
You can go to our website at www.WiShareAfrica.com, and we is spelled W-I. So WiShareAfrica.com. We're on all social media platforms. You can contact me directly on my social media. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can email me at Maada@WiShareAfrica.com.
Now, how you spell Maada?
Maada.
Just like the president.
Exactly, except I'm the CEO.
Nice. Are you Mende?
Maada, what's your tribe?
I'm Mende.
Okay, that's
He's Crew.
Yeah, Crew and Limba.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Yeah.
You don't meet a lot of Crew people.
No, not in Sierra Leone. I think
there's a lot of crews in Liberia.
Yeah, we're a lot more in Liberia than in Sierra Leone. It's only like they were like less than 2% in Sierra Leone. It's very small percentage.
Yeah, very small.
Yeah,
man. You got any more questions?
Oh, last question we ask everybody. For somebody who's traveling for the first time to Africa, you speak for Sierra Leone, or if you have other countries in Africa, but what's one thing that they need to experience on that first trip?
You said what's one thing they need to experience?
Yeah, on their first trip to Africa.
It depends on who the person is, but generally speaking, most people like enjoyment. So the nightlife is out of this world. Like, I mean, to be honest, like I was actually stressing doing this podcast because like we got in at like 9 a.m. last night.
Bro, you said 9 a.m. last night. That's a wild way to phrase it.
Like, we just had another meeting. I'm like, oh God, I have a podcast to do. But like, the nightlife is like that. The nightlife is really like that. It's a lot of fun, like, when you're in the States, you'll be at the club and we're just
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
me mugging.
here, it's dancing, it's fun, it's vibes. Everyone, you know, it's like it's an energy. It's an energy, man. It's an energy. Like when you see people just having fun, enjoying themselves with their friends, family, like nothing beats that, man. Nothing beats that. So you got to go
Wow.
out.
Yo,
If you come to
Great
Africa, you got to go
answer.
out. You got to
that
enjoy
is
Great
a
yourself.
great
answer.
answer. That is a great answer, my boy. Well, Maada, my brother, it was a pleasure to speak with you. It was a pleasure to connect with you again, even after all this time, and great to see that you're doing well. I'm this is the first time I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually do it too. You are officially one of the leading voices of Africa, my friend. Thank you for coming to the
My
Afronomics
brother.
podcast, my boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
Hey,
y'all so
yo,
much for having me, man. Thank God for all the blessings He bestowed upon all of our lives. I really hope and pray for the best for Afronomics. I believe that this is going to be a platform that is going to impact millions upon billions of lives and talk to people, make impact, and drive solutions for the development of our nation. I'm so grateful for you guys for having me.
thank you, brother.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Thank you.
brother. Appreciate you. And for y'all, this is a wrap for this episode with Maada Thomas, the king of Wi-Fi in Sierra Leone, as
King of
it is.
Wi-Fi.
King of Wi-Fi. That's a nice title.
King of Wi-Fi in Sierra Leone. Like, subscribe, tell your mama, tell a friend, tell 10
Comment.
friends. Comment, do all the stuff. If you don't like something we said, start an argument in the comments. We might respond. We're gonna win the argument.
Respond. We're gonna pull up on you.
Talk to y'all later, man.
All right.